Hello everyone, I am Mike Wiggins and it is my honor and privilege to be with you today for an interview with Chip Simmons. Chief Simmons is running for sheriff of Escambia County and is with us today to talk about his past experiences in law enforcement and his vision for Escambia County. Chief, it is a pleasure to be with you. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's always an honor to be here with you, and we're so excited about the campaign, and we're really looking forward to it.
Oh, I think it's going to be great. I think there are a lot of folks that are watching today that want to hear what you've got to say about law enforcement, and for the next half hour, we're going to try to get that information to them.
Very good. That's why we're here.
Well, let's do it. The first question I have is one I'm sure a lot of people ask you.
Right.
Why are you running for sheriff? Now, we all know that the job of sheriff is rewarding, and it's also a challenge. Why throw your hat in the ring?
Well, why throw my hat in the ring? That is the question that I've picked up from a number of people, including my wife. Oh. But I will tell you that I'm running for sheriff because I'm from Escambia County. I was raised in Escambia County. My wife and I and our kids and grandchildren anticipate staying in Escambia County. And the sheriff's office needs someone with the experience to tackle the unique challenges we have here in Escambia County, and that's basically drug enforcement and violent crime. And I think that I believe in Escambia County. I believe in the future of Escambia County, and we need to protect that future.
No question. Chief, your experience in law enforcement is extraordinary. Let's go back in time a little bit and look at your first job with the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, and then your move to the Pensacola Police Department. Go through those years, if you would.
Exactly. I've been in law enforcement a long time. We've known each other for a long time.
Exactly right.
But it started back in 1984. I was hired by the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Lohman hired me to be a deputy sheriff, but I was involved in a motorcycle accident, and I broke a lot of bones, my jaw and arm and leg, and so I couldn't go to rookie school. So but I could stay there and work as a corrections officer. So for just under 2 years, I worked at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office as a corrections officer, as a certified corrections officer. I then went to the Pensacola Police Department, where I was hired in 1986 under Chief Lou Goss, who you knew.
I remember him.
Knew well. At my career at the Pensacola Police Department, again, took me a number of places. Working patrol, I was an investigator or a detective. I was in a tactical unit. I spent most of my career, though, as a patrolman in the narcotics unit and on the SWAT team. So those are two probably of my favorite assignments with regards to the police department. But I moved up the ranks. I spent some time as a sergeant, as a lieutenant. I spent time as a captain, assistant chief for 6 years, and police chief for over 5 years. Unfortunately, I was stuck in that same thing where I was in the drop program, and I had to leave after 5 years. Well, 4 years in, the then county administrator, Jack Brown, called me up and said, "Hey, you have the experience and the expertise that we could use at the Escambia County Board of County Commission." And so I left and I became the chief, the assistant county administrator for them, which put me over all of public safety, fire, EMS, those brave professionals there. And I continued to learn a lot until Sheriff Morgan called me and asked if I wanted to be interested in being the chief deputy. And that's where I've been now for the last 3 years.
Well, that's great. Well, I want to go back to the Pensacola Police Department for a minute, okay. Chief. What you did there was kind of legendary. You did a lot of things, and we all remember all the good things that you did. But one thing I wanted to mention, I thought it's important, is when you were there, you developed a set of core values for the Pensacola Police Department. And I know from talking to you that they were very meaningful to you. Kind of walk us through the process of putting those core values together and what they mean to you today.
Absolutely. We at the Pensacola Police Department, we had a standard that we wanted every one of our employees, sworn and non-sworn, to adhere to. And so I started looking at that, and I felt like, what is most important? And I felt like the courtesy to the citizens and to the people that we interact with was of utmost importance. So courtesy was certainly a core value that I wanted to instill in every officer that worked for us. Integrity also was very important, because if you do not have integrity, then who's going to trust you when you stop someone for a speeding, or you make an arrest, or you have to testify in court. So integrity was the second core value. And then professionalism. Above all else, we needed to be a professional organization. We needed to be the type of organization that the citizens of Pensacola would be proud of, and we would be proud to be a part of. So courtesy, integrity, and professionalism were the core values that I instilled at the Pensacola Police Department. But I wanted to reinforce those core values. I wanted to do that on a daily basis. So I put those core values on the side of every Pensacola police car. If you notice, the Pensacola police cars, the black and white.
Yes.
First of all, we changed them to black and white.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, we used to have the red.
Not everybody agreed, Chief.
Not everyone did. I'm glad you remember that.
It was a fun debate. No doubt.
We, as you know, Pensacola is a historic city,
That's
and
right.
I wanted to go back to the historical look of the police car. So,
That's right.
so right now, every car to this day still has courtesy, integrity, and professionalism on the side of every car. But I didn't stop there. I put them on every business card of every police officer at the Pensacola Police Department. I put those 3 words on the walls of the training room and the gymnasium down there because we wanted them to continue to be reinforced and to remind the employees of the Pensacola Police Department that these are our standards, and we will not compromise on those standards. And we also use them as a filter for every decision that we make, every policy we made, and it's worked out very well. I'm very proud of our work at the Pensacola Police Department.
Right. And Chief, you took us through your travels to the county where you were in a senior administrative position. Then you went to the Escambia County Sheriff's Office as Chief Deputy. Can you tell us what some of your duties are as Chief Deputy with the Sheriff's Department?
Right. Currently, and for the last 3 years, I have been the Chief Deputy over Operations, which is over Patrol Division, which is what most people would see as the Uniform Patrol Division, all of the marked cars that you see, but also investigations, narcotics, SWAT, all of the operations type, the boots on the ground, more or less, the stuff that when you call for a deputy to respond, a call for service, then it's the operations side that goes there and makes sure that things are taken care of.
Right. Chief, as we look ahead, insofar as your goals, once you're elected sheriff, 2 goals come to mind that you have mentioned,
Right.
Enforcement and engagement. Big words, a lot of meaning there. Kind of tell us what they mean to you as the candidate for sheriff and what you would do with those 2 words as you move into that position.
Right. Well, people ask about what is your platform with regards to your candidacy for sheriff. They say, well, we understand that you're highly qualified. We understand that you've proven past performance. What are you going to do? And as you mentioned, it is about enforcement and it is about engagement. It all starts with the enforcement. And what you do is you coordinate all the resources at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, and then you combine them with resources of other agencies, whether it is a local agency, a state agency, or a federal agency. And you have a rigorous and an aggressive enforcement strategy. And that's going to target those that would victimize the citizens of Escambia County. And that is where to the level of enforcement that we have never seen in Escambia County before, because I have the experience in narcotic investigations and SWAT operations and violent crime apprehension to be able to coordinate not just the Escambia County Sheriff's resources, but those of other agencies, those in the supporting that can support us in doing that, because that obviously enforcement is very important. But you can't have enforcement without a level of engagement. And when I said that we're going to have enforcement to a level that we've not seen in Escambia County, we can do the same thing with engagement. I know I've been to a number of different homeowner association meetings. I've met a number of people, and no one has said we want less law enforcement in our neighborhood. Not a single person has said that. So they're going to get that enforcement, but they're also going to get an engagement level that they have not seen either. They're going to get feedback from their sheriff's office so that they feel like they're part of the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office feels like they're a part of every neighborhood in Escambia County. And in a nutshell, that is the platform, that is the policy, and it is twofold again. It is enforcement, but it is also engagement so that the future of Escambia County is protected.
I couldn't agree more, Chief. And I think we all know in today's world, if you're going to be a public servant, you need to offer transparency and you need to have good communications. And quite frankly, I will tell you right now, I think people listening who have seen you on television and heard you on radio know that your communication skills are top notch. But you've got to speak, or I would ask you to speak, to the importance of transparency and communications as you go about your job as the new sheriff of Escambia County.
Absolutely, and you hit on it, Mike. Transparency, communication, feedback, collaboration, engagement, all of these things are important from a law enforcement perspective. This is not the 1970s law enforcement, where just the facts, ma'am, and all we do is work an investigation. Now it is important for us to make sure that the citizens of Escambia County know what their sheriff's office is doing, knows what our priorities are, and know that if you ask us a question, we'll tell you the answers to those questions if we can. If there's an active investigation, obviously we'll maintain the integrity of that investigation. But as you know, when I was a police chief, one of the first things that I did was brought about a body camera system and a whole program, because I went to council and asked for the money to do so. And
we gave it to you.
Yeah, and you did. You absolutely did. It was very supportive. And to this day, it's the only agency that still has, the only regional agency that has the body cameras. And again, the main reason for that was the transparency.
Exactly.
Obviously, we use that for, for critiquing ourselves, for training, for evidence purposes. But for the most part, it is a level of transparency that, quite frankly, I feel like the citizens of Escambia County expect and deserve.
Absolutely. Chief, we're going to take a break in just a second, but when we come back, I would really like to talk to you a little bit about the tragic shooting at NAS. You were right there on the scene so quickly, and I'm going to ask you to kind of talk about that day, if you would, when we return from our break.
Absolutely.
So we're going to step aside for just a second, and we'll be back shortly.